So, task analysis 3, this is actually already on the website, at least the PowerPoint are there. I will talk about requirements for redesign, and actually we already got some requirements. All of the groups mentioned things that should be different, things that should be improved, needs that were not at the moment met. And these requirements can be inspired by, well, first of all, by the current situation. So I think we really need to model the current situation we described so far, but in order to really improve things, it makes sense to be very precise on what's now and what we want to change. So especially to show what is different in your solution based on the task context. The second thing is requirements from the client, and I think we got some requirements from the client. Most of the groups had this, and the other part of that is needs and ideas from the stakeholders or the current agents that are participating in the complex situation. So I will talk about 2 and 3, I think, together, and then we have competitor analysis. So in a way, all of this you already touched a little bit, but let me discuss a little bit. Yeah.
But the 3 and 2 are kind of similar, right? Because the client wants also the same as stakeholders, or
what you could say the client is a stakeholder. In some cases, that's just true. In some cases, the client is a kind of a broker. At least one of the systems, the client is a broker between people that want to sell and people that want to buy, or that should be triggered to buy, right? And the client is different in that the client, in a way, owns the system. Although in some cases, the case of the city of the municipality of Tilburg, I'm not completely sure who feels that they own the system, right? But the client is somebody who, in a way, could take care of itself, or will take care of itself, because otherwise they will never pay for the change of the system. And the other people are, in many cases, you just have to wait and hope and pray that the system will be better for their goals. So, but I will take them kind of together. But they are different. The client, in many cases, in fact, is the person whom you offer a design proposal, and if the client likes it, he's going to pay for that proposal and pay for the implementation. And the stakeholders, they have to hope it will work, right? So in that respect, they are not the same, and they definitely have different goals from the goals of the client, right? So let me consider a little bit, first of all, the issues from the model. So what do we need? We need to really get the task model as a model. And obviously things would help. Interviews help, and we already found out that interviews are not as simple as they look like. You really need to kind of receive the information, right? And the old-fashioned telephone is maybe not the right vehicle for that most of the time. Being with people helps a lot, and then if people decide to tell you, I will show you a presentation. I know one of the clients, he already told me last week when we had a phone call that he wanted to show a presentation. He actually wanted to be here for the presentation. Well, wait, the people will approach you and ask questions, but if they want to give you a presentation, that's fine, right? So they give you what they think is useful for them and for you to help them. That's fine. Hermeneutics, meaning to understand what's going on, even if people don't say that, and this sometimes happens, and at least in one case I detected like there was kind of an awareness problem, and maybe none of the people mentions the fact, but if you are sensitive enough, you find out, and that's hermeneutics. Document analysis would help. I didn't see too much document analysis so far. Maybe it's we have not enough time, or there are no documents, but be aware. And ethnography takes time, right? And ethnography is something that, it requires a special attitude and sometimes special techniques. By the way, with ethnography, you should be aware that original ethnography means you go somewhere to a culture, to a community that you don't know, and you be there, you are trying to be accepted, maybe part of the community for some time in order to find out, right? And in many cases that's not possible. In many cases you don't have time, and there are nowadays, let me say, things that look like ethnography but are not really. I call them ethnography by proxy, meaning that for instance you can ask people to keep a diary of events related to the system you are looking at, or you can ask people to send you an email every day about it, or you can ask people to answer questions in an email every day, or to make a picture every day once when they are using the system or something like that. Now we call this ethnography by proxy. Actually, you would like to look over the shoulder of the people, of the stakeholders, but if you are not able to look over the shoulder, you make them show you what you would have seen if you would look over the shoulder, by filling their diary or by making a picture a day or something like that. Right? So, but even that for a project of 1 week, maybe is not. But you should be aware, in real life redesign, you need to find out what's going on in the actual situation, right? And which means traveling, which means being there for a long period, or convincing people that they do this for you. Modeling, this is the thing I really want you to do now, so try to find out what are the different activities and tasks, what are the actors, what are the roles, what are the relevant objects that change hands, like information on the website, or records of medical treatment, or which apparently at the moment are not in the case of the Twente or whatever it is, location. The information is not available for people that would like to get hold of this information, to be aware. So model this kind and analyze the models and the relations. So find out who got information and who else might be happy to have this and could work better, perform better if they would have access to the information. So I think we need to do some kind of a knowledge analysis. And this means that you have to find out, task model 1 is a description of a current situation, and which means, well, these techniques, but also orientation. Decide what to look at. Decide what will be the type of things that you are looking at. Are you looking at what happens with relevant objects? One of the teams found out that there are forms that don't be filled in for some reason, right? So forms are objects, and people expect something to be able to do with the objects, and it doesn't work because, right? So you might find out what's wrong with the objects and look at the forms in that case. And in some cases it's about the person that go somewhere and you would like to know, or other actors would like to know what's going on. In a situation, I didn't discover that here, that situations are the main thing to focus on for one of the groups, but could still be, and tasks. So like maybe tasks could be relevant in the case of the catering broker, if I can label it that way, somebody who's well, trying to find for you somebody to give you food and beverage for your event or whatever, right? So it could be that finding out about the task could be relevant, but make a choice. Don't just get information, but at a certain moment decide what is the most information, most relevant thing to focus on. What's the orientation I should use? Okay, and then find out if there are tasks that are not related to a certain role. I learned from the municipality of Tilburg case that there are things that are not communicated to the people that should have this communication. So maybe there is activities that nobody picks up. And if that's the case, you'll have something to redesign, right? So try to identify this kind of thing. Try to identify whether there might be actually roles, but nobody knows that they should take the role. And nobody is asked to take the role. Nobody feels entitled to take the role. Other ways to handle things that are not communicated. Maybe there are forms, but nobody knows that they are supposed to fill in the form, or that they. And somebody said that there was something that would disappear in 20 seconds or whatever, right? And apparently people don't know they should do something. So this is protocols that are not. And then there could be objects that are relevant, but nobody is asked to handle them. So modeling these kind of things would help you, and the same is for objects that are not well specified. Right? So helps you to find out. So look at each of these things and look at events that happen and nobody is taking it up. Right? If there's a fire and everybody is leaving the building and there's this nice fire extinguishing here in the corner and nobody is ever told to handle this thing, right? So it would be a waste. And these are things that you can identify by formal modeling, by systematically trying to list all the different roles, all the different stakeholders, find out who take which role and when, all the different tasks that are relevant, and find out who owns the tasks, who is delegating, the same for the object. Right? So, okay, and look at the context. Maybe there are things in the context that make things happen or prevent things from happening. So find out what this could be. Okay, I would like to